It's not more of the alcohol, it's more of the drugs, our young people. The talented ones, the ones with brains, I don't want to lie, drugs are killing them. Numbers, family and domestic violence are going up. The trauma on the children, how are they going to manage that trauma and that experience that can develop into like something generational? Family and domestic violence, including sexual harassment, seem to be, yes, it's high in women, but there are also men who are being abused. And with men, what I've noticed is lack of resources as well. Huge numbers of mental health, depression mainly in men, and losing connection with the outside world. And most men really, they end up engaging in alcohol, trying to numb that pain. They are left in their own darkness.
Before we get started, please subscribe so that you never miss an episode of our cutting-edge contemporary conversations. Thank you. Welcome, Salome. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. And yourself?
I'm doing very well, thank you. Thank you for your time today, and it's good to have this conversation. Could I ask you to share your background and share your story and what you've been doing?
I was born in Zimbabwe and then moved to New Zealand, a mother of 3, 2 boys, 1 girl. And when I moved to New Zealand in 2002, then Australia 2009 in the tip of Pilbara, which was a good really experience there. I learned a lot. And 2009, that's when we started our journey of really just getting to know Australia better. 2015, then I moved to Perth, where I am now, kids growing up, going to high school. But all of this travel was really, as you can see, I'm from Africa. Africa is in my heart. And even in New Zealand, I formed a group, which was African Women's Group. And when I moved to Perth here, a friend of mine said, "Oh, we heard you have been doing a lot. Do you want to join?" So I joined the Organization of African Communities. My background is in drug and alcohol, mental health, and now I'm more into family and domestic violence. And I've got my own company, which is Moonlight Health and Wellbeing.
Wow. Wow. Could you start telling me a bit more growing up, what made you think about, or what made you as a person in your values and purpose so that you ended up working within the mental health space and then drug and alcohol space?
Yeah, as you know, I'm not sure how much you know about Africa and Zimbabwe. We are always molded by our parents. And when I was growing up, they were saying, "Oh, our teacher, our educator." So I was sort of drifted into doing teaching. So back home, I was a teacher. But my first year, this was like my parents' decision for me to be a teacher. And it was like indirectly sort of directed to be a teacher because that's what they wanted. So I ended up being a teacher. But after qualifying, really, I had a brother who had some sort of Down syndrome. And growing up in the family, I could notice as well that there were people with some communication issues. So I chose to do 1 year special needs education. So I started teaching children with special needs. And by then I was stationed in Bulawayo, which is our second capital city. So I worked at Sir Humphrey Gibbs being a special needs teacher until when I moved to New Zealand. And when I was in New Zealand, I taught at a high school where I was in a special needs class, and there was one boy. The mother really liked me, and this boy, I'll always give him some things to take home. As you know, in Africa, we plan really hard. So they end up saying, "Oh, do you want to join the mental health team?" Then I said, "Oh, what am I going to be doing there? I don't have experience and all that." They said, "No, it's just what we are doing. We just need a bit of your support." So I joined Richmond, New Zealand. It's just trying to support them and all that. But when I was there, that's when they asked me if I could want to upskill myself and what is it that I need, the gaps in my professional development. I had a Bachelor of Teaching. So I end up saying I'd rather do counseling. But by then I had started my Bachelor of Science, majoring in psychology. And I thought, it was too script. I loved narratives and all that. So I changed and finished my Bachelor of Science. Then I also finished my Bachelor of Counseling at the same time, so I was doing double. And then I switched back full-time into mental health, just wanting to help people, talking to people, and there came the idea of saying, yes, I've got all of this, what can I do to support other people? So I moved a bit into higher positions and supporting support workers and working alongside people who really think that they need a bit of support in their development, in their work profession and all that, until when I moved to... But back then when I was in New Zealand, we started working together, mental health and drug and alcohol. And I loved the setup and the model. So when I moved to Pilbara, I thought, what can I do? First, I started working for mental health. Then there was an opportunity with Blabotree. They got the funding from the AOD here in Perth. So I joined the drug and alcohol, and it was a good experience. And so even now I'm still supporting people, mental health, drug and alcohol, until when I moved to Perth. And in COVID hit, that's when I started to have an interest in the family and domestic violence, because mental health, drugs was also leading into that. And lockdowns, there was a hike in sort of family and domestic violence. So at this time in point, I'm a clinical support specialist for the family and domestic violence people.
Wow. I want you to give me your observations of alcohol and drug abuse happening within our communities. What do you see majorities of the cases being, presented?
That one is really an interesting topic to discuss, because now what I'm noticing, it's not more of the alcohol, it's more of the drugs. And we've got different trends coming in, which sometimes I wonder, where are these coming from? And really, in the community, there are more of the cocktails also happening. People are mixing and all this. And as you see now, we are approaching the elections. There's more of also the cannabis, medicinal and non-medicinal. And I'm seeing more young people now also, young adults wanting to go into medicinal cannabis. And with that one, really, I've got two feelings about it. Is this something that needs to be legalized or not? I don't know. But yes, there is huge. And my experience with our young people, the talented ones, the ones with brains, I don't want to lie, drugs are killing them. So our future leaders are going down slowly due to the peer pressure and the environment. And I know there are supports there, but some people are not even accessing those supports.
And why do you think understanding the idea of the young people getting into alcohol and drug abuse, why is that a worry? And then what happens before that happens, before you come to a decision to start using or abusing chemicals? What's the average journey you have observed in your experience?
What I've noticed really, and it started from when kids moved into high school, which comes with anxiety, the fear and the fitting in being a bit of a struggle. Then when you go into those high schools, there are those who have been there. They are the ones who are also introducing to the young ones. And now as you see that the age group has shifted, it used to be year 7, you go into high school. Now it's year 6, and they are still young, still vulnerable. With that fear, if you join the wrong group, then you go there and there. But those adults who are there like year 11 and year 10s, really, it's also peer pressure, but there is that lack of saying, how can we coach our young ones so that at least they know the dangers of using those drugs. Schools are trying, but what I've noticed as well, now I'm talking from like as an African, Organization of African Communities are doing their role of supporting schools and all that. But there is still also more support is needed. Parents to act as good role models. I was so shocked when I joined the Salvation Army as an AOD practitioner, when you are doing the history, to know that, oh, I started using alcohol when I was young because I was drinking, after my confirmation from church. And I tested it. It was good. And I've never turned back. Mm-hmm. So it now ended up being an addiction, but it was meant to say, you know what, it's church wine. It's not meant to make you drunk, but most young kids end up experimenting. And what I've noticed as well, with high numbers of people having ADHD, they are put on these dextroamphetamines to slow them down, to just make them calm a bit. But some are abusing them as well. And as they grow up, to get off them, they can't. It becomes an addiction, which will develop into wanting more, and they end up even using the meth.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, I think the solution offered to the young people when they were younger ones to ADHD or other, what you're suggesting is become the problem as they've grown older.
Yeah.
And so how do you see the use of these mental health challenges in the younger ages? Where are they stemming from? What are the bigger reasons the mental health issues are being so much prominent in our younger population?
What I've noticed, and on my way here, I met a young person who shared with me a lovely story. As I meet people, I just check because, she was really craving, wanting to do that. And with this one, it's really shocking to say the community is not there to support. Mm-hmm. This is a young girl who was sexually abused at a young age, and she hasn't shared with her parents. And she's saying, I'm carrying this pain by myself. So the only way I can sort of numb the pain, if I forget about it. Mm-hmm. So in terms of using drugs, not everyone is really driven by that story, but it's the community, the environment, which is toxic, mm-hmm. and the availability of those things. And parents, especially those from cold background, most parents, I'm also a parent, and I was busy working, not spending time with my own kids. So they end up developing those friendships that are not healthy. And those friendships, some of them can lead them into taking drugs, into really this. And COVID on its own brought a lot of fear in families. That's where anxiety, depression end up hiking as well. But now to say, how can I get over the fear of the future, which is the anxiety? Okay, I can numb that, then I can just go in there without knowing. And the depression, all those things, hard things that have happened to me, how can I get over? If I numb it, maybe if I take something that can sort of boost my energy, I'll be able to connect with people. Mm-hmm. So it's really something to say we need policies, and we need really tough education to say, you know what, whoever is bringing all those drugs into the country and wherever they are coming from, how can we have tough rules to stop those? Mm-hmm. And I know sneaking in is still happening. People are still bringing them on. Yeah. But it's upper that need to change the policies and procedures. Mm-hmm.
And your most recent work within the family and domestic violence, could you talk about your observation again to see that why family domestic violence is rampant, or the cases coming into the media these days as well? So could you give your perspective on what's happening in the FDV space?
With that one, really, it's also like, I'm not sure whether it's lack of exposure or what's happening, but numbers are going up. As you know, there's one that has just happened in New South Wales, whereby really a mother was kidnapped from her kids, shoved in the boot of the car, and end up burning that car. So the trauma on the children, this is just a 15-year-old and 7-year-old, I think. So how are they going to manage that trauma and that experience? If there are no tough or rules or people to look after those, that's when that can develop into like something generational. Yeah. And what I've noticed as well is really, it's heartbreaking. You are moving from like an FDV relationship. Somehow you also get to be attracted into another one without knowing. Women and even those from LGBTIQ, they're very vulnerable. So they'll end up making these decisions without knowing. But to overcome that, I think more education, more space to empower these women. And I always say to people, take them as experts in their journey. They've lived a life. They know their story. Let's work with them. Let's try to educate them and resurrect all those sort of hobbies they used to have. And when we are providing psychoeducation, really in terms of what is family and domestic violence, we need to use the layman's language. Some of these terminologies, they don't get them. And there are services there who end up overtaking, because you need really to listen to their story, validate them, acknowledge their strengths, then from there say really what's going to work for you. Because it's my life, it's my journey. Work with me, journey with me, instead of taking over. I think that way we might reduce the numbers of people going through family and domestic violence.
And in terms of the learned behavior of people observing and then repeating the same behavior in their life, what do you see that that aspect of within the family and domestic violence space?
Yes, that's a big topic, learned behaviors. But I always say, if you work with a person from their strength, what they have, you might get it. Because, as you know, we can't tame an old dog new tricks. So some people, they need to be really given the space to talk, give them time to share their story. But at the same time, what I've been missing, especially in the family and domestic violence, for those organizations that are providing services, is really to do those risk assessment so that those behaviors find a way of saying, you know what, this is not really okay. And having those really being honest with them. I'm worried about your behavior. I'm concerned. This might develop into something. Because with that as well, children growing in that toxic environment, they don't see the point. They normalize things that are not normal. So as someone who is supporting those people, we have to be honest to say, you know what, dear, yes, you've grown up in this environment, but this is not okay. This is not normal. You can do better. We are here to support you. How can we support you? Not to say this is what you should do. With this is what you should do, we miss people there. But really work with them, use their skills. And where you see them going a bit, it's okay with that tender love and care to say, I don't think this behavior is okay. I'm worried, I'm concerned. And then unpack it more. And when people are in denial stage, really, it's okay to journey with them slowly, not pushing them hard. If you push them, we lose them there. But to say, I hear you, this is your understanding, but really from this understanding, have you tried this? Have you heard about this? It's about negotiating. Then we might get there.
And how do you see the family and domestic violence from a CALD point of view? Is that another layer of challenges do you see, or is it happening equally across all community groups?
Completely different. From CALD background, there is a huge thing there that holds up the culture. And with now really defining family and domestic violence, and for me, in family and domestic violence, including sexual harassment, in some culture, it's normalized, hidden, normalized, because they say, oh, you know what, parents have done it this way. And what I've seen really working in this space is to say, when you are working with people from CALD background, acknowledge and validate that, yes, it has been normalized, but really, this is normal. And they need to be reassured to say, services are here. We are in Australia. The resources are there to support you. This is what you can do. And what I've noticed as well is when you try to name the types of abuses, don't expect someone to get it at once. The more you meet with them, then they start to build that rapport. They trust you. You give them scenarios. You tell them the story. They might understand it. but just to say, oh, this is family and domestic violence. One, what I've noticed as well is people are misinterpreting it. Then marriages will end up breaking and families being separated and all that. But we need to get in the cold sort of space with that tender love and care and unpack it and really naming it and even educating the men as well. Because what I've noticed with some men, they have no idea that what they are doing is not okay. So we need also more services to support men from cold background.
And how does family and domestic violence is gendered in terms of how does it impact men and women equally or suboptimally? Could you talk more on that, your observation, because you have talked from a lens of a woman, probably at this stage, women and young people. From a men point, does it impact them and how much?
It does. And thanks for highlighting that, because sometimes, I'm a woman, I tend to talk more of women's side, but there are also, and what I've noticed with that one as well is really to say, us as women, we need to have an understanding. What is family and domestic violence? There are also women there who are also gaslighting men, and men end up becoming angry. And as a result, if you attack me, then I'll call the police first. But if we look deeper into it, who started this? Where is this coming from? It's the other party who has started it. So yes, there are also women out there who are so vicious, I have to be honest, who are also really destroying men. And as you can see, even in depression, suicidal thoughts, yes, women might sort of survive suicidal thoughts, but when men are thinking of taking their lives, they'll take it. And they will have been hurt. Because imagine you've got children and all that, all of a sudden, you can't see those children. There's a VRO in place and all that. And what makes some men is family. And that family is not there. You are left on your own. So that is really having a huge impact on men. So from really my observation and what I'm hearing out there, especially these days, it seems to be, yes, it's high in women, but there are also men who are being abused. And with men, what I've noticed is lack of resources as well. The moment they call in wanting help, some of the services, they judge them. Oh, it's your fault. You want me to collude with you. But if you listen deeper, it's not wanting you to collude with them. They've got a story to tell. Listen to them. Direct them to the right services. And they can also get that help. Because from cold background, really, I can repeat this. It's a lack of knowledge as well. And taking those engraved cultures here to say, man is the head. So I'm in control. I'm the breadwinner. I have to do this. I have to take over. Whereby to say, no, the environment we are in now, it's a bit different.
Continuing from that idea or thought, so for men of that age background who are coming out of a relationship with kids and going through the whole journey of the family court and everything happening around that, including a VRO and all of those things, can't see your child. What do you think is going in this person's head from a mental health point of view? Which is told and not told, which talked about or not talked about?
Huge impact, because the attention is given to the other party and this man is left by themselves. There are huge numbers of mental health, depression mainly in men, and losing connection with the outside world. And most men, really, they end up engaging in alcohol, trying to numb that pain. And some people, when they see that happening, now they've engaged into using alcohol, their health going down, their connection with the outside world going down. So they are left in their own darkness corner. And really, it's only that I don't have the stats. But like yesterday, I was talking to a man from African background, really hearing their story, and to say, oh, I end up going in Fiona Stanley, mental health breakdown. Now I'm on this medication, showing me the myths, looking at him, telling his story. It's not the same person. Because I was saying, oh, how did you come here? Via skills and all that. I used to work in the mines and I was doing this. But now looking at him, he's not there. He is gone. And there's no family even visiting. That connection with the family is not there. So most men are really going through mental health, huge, major mental health issues, which will lead into their physical health, mental issues as well. But the attention and more resources are targeted on one side. So really with this, I don't know how I can be an advocate as well to say we need balance. Men also need support. Men also need education to build those health family ties and health communities.
And how do you see the role of both state and federal governments getting involved into the conversation of around whether it's family domestic violence or mental health? It becomes very critical to provide those services and supports what you're suggesting at these front or coal face.
What I'm seeing, yes, the federal is trying its best. The funding is there. That's why now we have got the 1800 respect line. But yes, these are people who are supporting people online. But on the ground, the services are limited. I don't want to lie. I can focus here in WA. Yes, we've got the Salvation Army, which is self-funded from their shield. And also we've got pest jars. But we need more services to cater for our cold people as well. And those ones are limited. So there is a huge gap.
And then talking about your current work, and in terms of the kind of people you're working with, could you talk about not just the demographic, but the kind of cases you are seeing? What kind of challenges you've been seeing on a day-on-day basis?
The challenge is where to link people. Services, support services, they are limited. There are huge wait periods. And now talking from a private practitioner who has got her own counseling service, I receive people and is paying. Now to say, okay, where can I link you, where you can get free support and all that, we don't have much support for those people. You can refer them out. There's huge wait times and all that. And the people I'm working with really is that gap to say, like the girl I met when I was coming here, said, I don't know where to go to get that support, but I need to talk to someone I can connect with, people from my own culture. Yes, they are there, but they are not funded. So when you are self-funded, you have to charge people to bring food on the table. And people, they can't afford, as you know, services. Everything is very expensive these days. And looking at the people that I'm also supporting, especially those who are working directly with People National, still is the same. They don't have actual resources to link people with. Someone reaches out online, I need support. Then you give them all these resources. Go and call these people. They go and call them. They are told off. Or they are said, oh, okay, you need to call next time. Now we are not taking anyone. So there is... People are skilled to look after their own, but I don't know how people can access those resources to say, we can support our own people, like Africans working with Africans, Indians working with... all that, so that really resources are sort of allocated wisely. But there's work that needs to be done. Resources are not there. Services to link people with are not there, especially with long-term supports. And what I've noticed as well in linking people, let's say I'm leaving my home. Yes, things are not going on well. I've got my pets. There are few services that can accommodate people with pets and pets with children. And it's a connection. So you can't say, oh, I'll send these pets away, then I'll go with my kids. Yet it's something that was helping the kids in regulating their emotions, in really helping them to get that soothing and all that. So, yeah, those are huge issues.
Wow. One thing you talked about earlier is that, the education of the younger people. So what's your view on the current education system in terms of, creating more supporting young people on the journey and making them more resilient, and then growing up and having a more deeper and better understanding on mental health challenges, or slipping into the wrong idea of alcohol and drug abuse and all of that?
The education is trying, but really it's all about the book. Our kids need real life scenarios. Mm-hmm. They need like real people going in there talking about the challenges that are being faced there. And it's not also, there was that mentality or that to say, when you start talking about it, you are putting the idea in their brain. That's mm-hmm. not it. You are educating them that to mm-hmm. say, this is not okay. And they need to know, like really, some young girls, they finish high school without even knowing the impact of alcohol and drugs on their own physical health. They start smoking, they start vaping, mm-hmm. and you are vaping something that you don't know what is in that vapor. You don't know, and you are putting it into your body. What is it doing to your internal organs, your lungs, and all that? But some, they don't know. They start coughing. Oh, maybe it's just a cough. It's when they said, you know what? When that lung is damaged, I don't know how you can reverse that. It's an organ that takes time to heal and all that. So prevention is the way to go. Don't touch that, then you have your better life. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's a struggle. They are not getting it.
Mm-hmm. You are. And then from your practice point of view, can you talk about what kind of running your business and then running as an individual and then growing the business, what are the biggest learnings you have from the business which you have come from?
Oh, it's huge. Resilience. You have really to be strong enough to balance, because when you start a business, and what I've noticed from African sort of background as well is to say, people think that, you can provide that service for free, mm-hmm. but I need to bring food on the table. Mm-hmm. And now to say, where can I tip in to get that funding so that I can provide that free service? It's not also an easy journey. And I've been struggling, I don't want to lie. Until now, I'm still self-funded. And it's only when I get people, I say, you know what? Mm-hmm. Because I also provide employee assistance program, mm-hmm. reach out to your employer, mm-hmm. and they might help you, and it's linking them with that. But it's really a struggle. Sleepless nights, mm-hmm. because you have to work really hard. And when I started, because I was aiming at people who are working, to say, I don't want you to take time off work, because I struggled as well when I started settling in New Zealand and here, to say, I need support, but the employer will say, you can't go during work hours. So when I started my business, it was outside hours and Saturdays as well. Mm-hmm. And I also work public holidays. But it's not an easy journey. Mm-hmm. However, it's doable. Mm-hmm. You just need to be strong and never give up, mm-hmm. and you'll get there. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Wow. And do you think there's need of more individual consultants in this space, or because there are large organizations who are providing EAP kind of supports? So what do you see the role of smaller, individualized, more customized supports available out there?
It's client-tailored. And at the same time, when people are seeing people, like in my private practice, really, I space it out and I give people more time. Mm-hmm. And when you are coming there, it's like you are walking in a home and you feel welcomed and all that. Whereas I'm not saying it's not there in bigger organizations, but in bigger organizations, it's all about numbers. Mm-hmm. It's all about stats. Mm-hmm. It's all about the funding. Whereas this private, small organization is about the person who is sitting in front of you. So to my knowledge, really, I think we need more of those organizations which are sort of client-centered, are person-centered. They treat a person as a person, mm-hmm. not as a number.
Mm-hmm. A lot of, from a work point of view, from an employee's point of view, what are the major sources of stress or the reasons why would they end up using an EAP or an employee assistance program?
People are struggling, and now, as you know, really, to say the cost of living is going up, And if you've got children as well, it's another stress whereby organizations, they want you just to work. And it comes back to say, it's not about the person, it's about the stats. So people are carrying work home and people are going through hard times. Within the organization, you are being maybe treated also not well. So there is too much pressure that is going on. And what I've noticed with mainly people from cold background accessing EAP is also the treatment, whereby you are not being respected as a person who can have values, who can also have a voice. You are always talked over and all that. So people are going through hard times and anxiety as well of not feeling open to say your opinion. So you end up overthinking, inbuilt worry and all that. So that can say, oh, if I say this, am I going to say it the right way? Or you speak once, then it is misinterpreted. And even talking as a woman of color, this color is really to say, oh, what can you do? So it's always seen as someone who doesn't have the brain, someone who doesn't have this, and it's creating stress because most of these people, they are well-educated people being led by someone who has got no knowledge of what they are doing just because of the skin color. So I have to be open. Racial sort of comments as well are leading people to have mental breakdowns.
In terms of the idea of when you are working in a workplace, the idea of merit, you are there because you know how to do the role, not because of specific skin color or what. So if you can deliver a specific outcome for a specific role, and if you have the skill sets, it should be, and if you're delivering the role in the full or at par, there should not be any issues. So what's your observation on those things?
There shouldn't be any issues, but to be honest with you, issues are created. The young person I was talking to, this is a company which is run by someone from cold background, but the HR and all those people there, they are different. So she's struggling to say, I'm being treated as if I don't know what I'm doing. So I go into work, I do my role nicely, my participants love me, we connect, I talk to them, I do everything, but they are always looking for something to talk me down. So regardless of your skills and all that, and this is from personal experience, I might be at par with someone who is of different color and I'm a woman of color, doing the same job and all that. I have to work twice than that person to prove myself that I can do this role. And this is real life. The moment you miss one thing that other person can miss, it can be ignored. But you as a person of color, if you do that, it is picked on and all that. So it's really a tough journey. And what I've noticed with that as well, with our people of color also in those positions, I don't know what's going on. They treat their own as nothing as well. And you can see, to say you are a manager, you have got a person of color under you, and this one, you tend to favor the other person. And I said, why are we not upskilling our own people? Why are we not valuing them? They've got the same skills. They're doing the same job. So what I'm calling for is really organizations have to treat people equally.
Yeah, I think that should be the bottom line.
Regardless of your color, regardless of what, I've got the skills. You employed me knowing that I've got these skills. I can do my job. So treat me equally.
I think the color should not come into play at all.
No.
Because, as you said, you're there for a skill and for a job, and that's it. And if you have delivered the task in full, or how much ever it was required for you to deliver, it should be taken rightly. But how do you see the human behavior has been the same across centuries, millennia, and geographies, wherever you might find people? So what is the role of human behavior in terms of ganging up on other people, coming together and saying, I don't like that person, I want to create a problem for that person? So how much of that is human behavior?
I really don't know whether it's really to say the world is evolving or what. That communal living or that support, really, people are living as individuals. People are moving away from being like that togetherness, and I can say in my own language, that umuntu, to say this is who we are, is seem to go down bit by bit, whether it's the travel or what we are doing, migration and all that, but that is changing. And I always say it's not even too late to say we can maintain that dignity in people, that connectedness, that being there for each other, treating people equally, being respectful of other people. But really, as we move into this, and I don't know with these new generations, whether is things changing or whether that culture is going to be there to say, I need to care for each other. I need to be someone's gatekeeper. We need to look after each other. But these days, it's really everything sort of individualized. You live your life, I live my life, and let's God for us all, which is not right.
How do you see the idea of individualism versus, seeing the idea of, as a group versus an individual identity? On the spectrum of things between individual and group mentality or thought process, coming from different backgrounds, what works in what situations? In some situations, for example, one person produced a new scientific formula which works and solves problem. So that individual effort is individualized. This person has created that outcome or an entrepreneurial spirit, and that person should be rewarded in some way or form to the tune of what work he has done or she has done. So how do you see that all happening on the spectrum on the other side, on the group side of it?
With the group, individualized things really, for me, they are not people-centered. But things that are sort of communalized or a group of people working together, that's why now we call collaboration, co-design, instead of an individual designing something. If you co-design, you are consulting with people, you are consulting with the community, you are working together as a community, and that product can be really sustainable, and it's a tool that can be used with the whole community. I love what we were doing with the City of Sterling in developing tools for the family and domestic violence. It was really, yes, it was a challenge, meeting night times and all that, but there were tools that are so good. They were developed by the community to be used in the community. Instead of saying, oh, this might work. This might work, it doesn't work. But co-designing, working together, putting our ideas together, brainstorming, designing everything together is sustainable.
From the area of family and domestic violence and the alcohol and drug abuse kind of work, what you're doing in that space. What do you see? How do you, and there's a less number of people in that workforce. Also, there's challenges of identifying more people to join and then start being involved in that that sector. So how do you see one could motivate younger people to start getting educated in that kind of a line?
What I've noticed as a gap as well is really, I learned this when I was up north. Every kid from high school, they want to go in the mines, because these miners were going in there and provide that education. So in schools, really in high schools, if we can have people who can go and talk our young people into taking all these other careers, that might help. And what I've noticed as well is in terms of those organizations that accommodate people when they do their trials or when they do their work, it's called workplace sort of... Work placement and all that. It's very limited. Not much are taking these people on board. And if you look at it, there are people who are graduating as counselors, psychologists, social workers, without even workplace experience. So organizations, they said, we don't hire you because you don't have experience. That's why we're having these shortages. And people end up working as support workers and all that. But these are skilled people who have graduated. As I've got a young person who calls me every day, I did my psychology, I did this, but I can't find work. So we need really to have also organizations who are able to say, to build that skill, you need to be in that industry. So it's okay, we can take you on board, we can put you on this under supervision of someone, and you can do it. I really enjoyed when I was working with my student from ECU to be there just to say, you know what, this is what you should do. Documentation and all that, when you see people, that's what we need, and that is lacking.
Lovely. And I think my concluding question is, how do we create more mentors who can support younger people to see these challenges and give them the right guidance on the way?
I think also creating more mentors, they need to be looked after. I'll give you the structure that was used by Organization of African Communities. It was so good. We've got heaps of mentors, but to go to visit those people, I used to go to Avley High School, my own fuel, my own time, my own closing my office to go there. People need also to be sort of given a token when they do that. So we need really proper funding to be available for communities who are willing to train mentors, to identify strong people in their own community, to say, you know what, when you are going to look after this person, this is what we can give you. So people are open to be mentors, but the resources are not there to bring food on the table.
Thank you. Thank you a lot.
Cool.
Thank you.